Okay, guys, welcome. Thank you for viewing today's lesson. We'll be learning how to add integers. Once again, remember integers are both positive and negative whole numbers. That's what we will be dealing with today. Now, go ahead by yourself since you don't have a partner. Think about how you will solve this. Take a few minutes, try to figure it out, and hopefully at the end of this lesson you should be able to solve it. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Gizmos to see some example using integer chips on how we add integers. So we have the yellow chips. In class we actually use them, but if you're not in class, this is a good way to actually see it. So here you have -3 plus 6. So 3 is negative. We are going to start with 3 negative chips, and then to that -3 we are going to add 6 positive chips. 1, okay. Now another word that you need to remember from last week is the word opposite. Now remember, with opposite they cancel each other out. So if I have 1 plus 1 is 2. However, if I have 1 plus -1, it's 0. It's like me owing somebody $1. That means that it was -1, and then I give them their dollar back. So now I do not owe them anything. It's 0. Okay, so what's going to happen to the opposite number? Remember, every number has an opposite. Opposite of 1 will be -1. Opposite of 300 will be -300. Okay, it's all the whole numbers with their opposite. So, and when we add the opposites together, they cancel each other out. So what's going to happen to here to these opposites? Cancel, cancel, and they cancel. So now when we actually add 6 to -3, we actually end up with +3. Okay, notice we are left with only positive chips. Okay, and now let's try another one. This is the same. So here we have -5 plus -1. So we are going to start with how many chips? 5 red ones, because 5 is negative. 1, 2. Okay, so now we have 5 negative chips, and to that negative chips we are going to add 1 negative chip. Okay, now notice that nothing here will be able to cancel each other out because there's no opposites. Okay, so here my answer will be -6, because now I have a total of -6 chips. Okay, that's the difference. Here nothing cancel out because there's no yellow ones, there's no opposites to cancel each other out. So we left with -6. Okay, let's try another one, last one. So here we have -11 plus 10. So we are going to start with -11 chips, red ones. 1, 2. Okay, I think that's 11. Now we are going to add 10 positive chips. 3, 4. Okay, so now watch what happens. All of these guys going to cancel each other out. because they have their opposites. Okay. Poof, disappear, 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 disappear. Once again, they only cancel each other out when there's an opposite there. And we are left with -1. So it was like us saying, really, 10 minus 11, which will take us to -1. Okay? Alright, so I hope you guys get a more sense of really what's happening when we're adding the integers. Okay, let's go back to the lesson. Okay, go ahead and copy this down in your notes. When we are adding integers, if they are the same sign, we want to add the absolute values and keep the signs of the numbers. For example, 3 plus 4, they're both the same sign. 3 is positive, 4 is positive, so we get 7. Okay, -3 plus -4, same sign, however they are negatives, so we add them and we keep the negative sign. Here they were both positive, we kept the positive sign. Here they're both negative, so we keep the negative sign. Okay, now if they have different sign, we want to subtract the smaller absolute value from the larger. Basically just subtract the numbers like we normally would do. However, this time we have to be careful. We will keep the sign of the number with a greater absolute value. Okay, so for example, we have -3 plus 4. 3 is negative, 4 is positive, different sign, so we subtract that. 4 minus 3, we get 1. 4 is the bigger absolute value, so we keep 1 positive. Okay, scenario here, 3 plus -4, 3 is positive, this time 4 is negative. Okay, absolute value of 3 is 3, absolute value of -4 is 4, so 4 will be bigger, so we keep the sign of the 4, which will be negative. Once again, different sign, a positive and a negative, we subtract them, and then we keep the sign of the absolute value of the bigger number. You can always pause and copy this. This is a cute little song for you to remember the rule for adding integers, adding and subtracting integers. Basically, the rule goes like this. This goes to the sound of roll, roll, roll the boat. So it's same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger number, then you'll be exact. So try to remember this little song. You cannot go wrong. So let's go ahead and do some practice. Pause this and try to do them by yourself, and then come back to see the solution. Alright, so let's go ahead and start. So -4 plus -7, same sign, so we will add them. 11, and then we keep the sign, which will be negative. 20 plus -8, 20 is positive, 8 is negative, different sign, so we subtract 20 minus 8, which will be 12, and we keep the sign of the bigger number, which will be 20, so 12 will be positive. Okay, here we have to follow the rule of operation. However, they're all addition. It doesn't matter in which order we do them. -30 plus -30, same sign, we add, we get 60, and keep the sign, the negative sign. Plus 70, let's bring 70 down. This now different sign, 60 is negative, 70 is positive, we will subtract them, and we keep the sign of the big absolute value of the bigger number. Absolute value of 60 is 60, absolute value of 70 is 70, so we will keep 10 positive because 70 is bigger, the absolute value. Okay, number 4, 5 minus 5 plus negative 2, 5 positive, 2 is negative, different sign, subtract, so that will give us 3, and we keep the sign of the bigger number, so 5 is bigger, 3 stay positive. Bring down plus negative 3. Now this one should be easy. Those two are opposites, so we know it's going to be 0. There will disappear. Here we have to evaluate on number 5, e plus f when e equal negative 30 and f equal 12. E is negative 30, so we bring it down, plus f is 12. So here we have different sign. We will need to subtract. 30 is negative, 12 is positive. Subtract them normally. That will give us 18. Now we have to decide which sign to choose. And absolute value of negative 30 is 30. Absolute value of 12 is 12. So we keep the sign of 30, which should be negative. Okay, any questions? Alright, we'll stop for now with adding and subtracting integers. Hopefully, if you were a little bit lost in class, this will refresh your memory. If you didn't have enough time to copy the notes, this should give you